this happened to, hi everyone, welcome to Zenny62 on YouTube. This happened to California Senator Kamala Harris right here, Saturday, during the Move On session at the California Democratic Convention in San Francisco. I was actually across the street from this in the main hall when this occurred.
On implementation of your first big idea on the gender pay gap, not everyone works for a corporation.
Yes.
And a big...
Hey. Hi. Whoa.
Look, no one stopped this guy from coming up there. No one stopped him. Take a look. They just watched. There was no security that pursued him. Now, this is a sitting United States Senator. Look at this. Watch.
On implementation of your first big idea on the gender pay gap, not everyone works for a corporation.
Yes.
And a big...
You see? They just see that? There was nobody behind him. No one going after him. No one stopping him. They just let this guy walk up there. They let this guy walk up there right in her face. He could have done anything to Senator Harris. And not to mention the other folks up there, including the moderator. All right? And she managed to get away from him, but this is a dangerous situation. There was no security around to stop him. No security around to stop this guy. So he gets his statement out. And they're just being so nice to him and letting him talk as opposed to just giving him a good one.
Asking for your attention to a much bigger
And
thank you so much, sir, for your big idea. But we want to make sure
they just,
that we are able to get through this.
They did this in such a wuss way that I am massively concerned for the Democratic Party. They just let this guy walk up there. And if he had been black, they'd have bum rushed him. Someone would have bum rushed him. Okay? But
of your first big
they just let him...
pay gap. Not
all right?
everyone works for a corporation.
Yes.
And a big...
They just let him walk up there. Just like that. Just like, okay? They just let him walk up there just like that. Unbelievable. And he gets more than his 15 minutes of fame because what you saw, that video, that scene has been repeated a bunch of times. And it's just plain wrong. That protester, everybody now knows his name, is Aidan Cook. Actually lives in Oakland. He's 24 years old. He said that he was trying to make a statement. He's with an organization out of Berkeley called the Direct Action Network. And they are part of a global network that opposes farming practices and protests animal cruelty. I've never heard of them. And he basically says that, and then on top of that, this is what really equally gets me. Direct Action Everywhere puts out a press release, I didn't get it, that basically says this, and I'll read to you what they're crowing about. Animal activist takes mic after Kamala Harris in San Francisco as 1,000 plus march streets of San Francisco. I didn't see 1,000 plus marching. Activists demand candidates include animal rights in their platform, support factory farm whistleblowers. Video available here. So they have a video of what he did. Then it says, as seen on Facebook live stream, activists took the mic during the Move On Big Ideas Forum in San Francisco after Kamala Harris addressed the crowd. Aiden Cook, part of the global network Direct Action Everywhere, was eventually hauled off by security. Weekly. Cook called on Harris to support ordinary citizens rescuing animals rather than the factory farms that abuse animals, sicken local populations, and repress whistleblowing activities. Specifically, 6 California residents are facing 7 felony charges each after exposing factory farm cruelty and attempts to rescue sick and dying chickens. Folks, this is not the way to do it. And what Aiden did was racist and sexist. Here's why. First of all, there's no evidence of any kind that Senator Harris does not or would not support the issue that Direct Action Network is trying to bring about. Second, why pick on her? And this is where I get to the racism and sexism part. As much as Democrats don't like to hear this, I'm going to tell you a fact, all right? If someone tried to do that at a Donald Trump speech, they would have gotten their block knocked off in public. Democrats need to do the same thing. Democrats are too nice. And that's why we're not winning big elections, because we're not decisive. You saw how many times they let that guy just come up there. He came up there without anybody pursuing him. They let him grab the mic from her. They let him talk. And they let him have a platform for a few seconds before anybody from security came along and hauled him off. They were trying to be so nice to him, even though the act that he was committing was at its heart mean. Stopping somebody else from talking, saying, you shut up, it's my turn. Oh, and by the way, I can do this to you because psychologically you're a black woman and I don't want to hear you anyway. That's what he's saying. That's what his action says. I don't care what he says, that's the symbolism. And then he told someone who asked him afterward, hey, did you ever consider that your act, was the symbolism of your act, the imagery? And he said that he was polite to her. That's like a robber saying, oh, by the way, excuse me, you look very nice today, but I'm going to take $200 from you. Seriously? Okay? This happens too much lately. Bernie Sanders allowed it to happen a number of times. I don't know that Hillary Clinton has ever allowed it to happen. But Donald Trump said, hey, look, if you do that to us, you will be roughed up. And they were serious about it. The problem with Democrats are scared. Scared to act, scared to hold their ground, scared to take action. That's what this party has evolved into. A bunch of fraidy cats that let people like this guy run up and steal their voice. If Direct Action Network wants to make a statement, what they should do is craft a truly teachable viral video and a website to go with that video and a number of their own live streams and sessions to help people understand the very important issues that they bring up. But doing this actually takes away from what they're trying to say. I mean, I get what Direct Action Network's trying to say, but their method was 1,000,000% wrong. It was all kinds of wrong. It could result in, and I think it should result in some jail time for that guy, okay? Just to teach him a lesson. I think that since Direct Action Network is taking, a victory lap with this thing, they ought to receive some sort of legal punishment too, as basically the enabler of this act. I mean, I'm looking at this press release right here, okay? And it goes on to say progressive candidates should be advocating for vulnerable positions and not abusive corporations and yada, yada, yada. This says nothing about anything that Kamala Harris has done. In fact, it mentions Elizabeth Warren, but they didn't go after Elizabeth Warren. It mentions Cory Booker. They dare not go after Cory Booker. He's 6'3", 240, something like that, all right? No way, all right? And Cory Booker was at Move On. They didn't even touch Cory Booker, even though Cory Booker's named in the press release. You see what I'm getting at here? Cory Booker is named in this press release. It says, and I quote, it says, the activists say the candidates' continued support of animal agriculture, despite increasing evidence of the public health threats, environmental damage, and animal cruelty in the industry, goes against their stated values. For example, the 2018 Farm Bill, which received near unanimous Democratic Party support, including Sanders, Booker, and Warren, approved over $100 billion in corporate subsidies and rejected activist requests to prevent handouts to millionaires and billionaires. And then, I mean, this is so unstructured. They have an issue with someone who's a millionaire and a billionaire getting an assistance for their business, but they don't prescribe an alternative method that actually works at economic scale, that is actually doable. They're just whining. But they're whining with a dangerous path, okay? Anyway, it goes on to say, Elizabeth Warren acting as 2018 co-sponsor on the proposed Dairy Pride Act. Then Bernie Sanders' history of protecting the dairy industry, all right? But no, look, they don't mention Kamala Harris at any place in this press release. This press release does not mention Kamala Harris, except to note that she was the one who was bum rushed. That is all kinds of wrong, Aiden. It is all kinds of wrong. And Direct Action Everywhere and you do an extreme disservice to people who could be on your side, but now they don't want anything to do with you. And I don't blame them. This was immature. If you want to really make a change, why don't you try designing legislation, okay? Designing legislation, and then marching that legislation up through the proper channels. If you don't understand how the government works, go and watch Schoolhouse Rock. You know, I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill, and I got here on Capitol Hill. You know what I'm saying? Learn how government works rather than behaving in ways that are racist and sexist. Racist because it says, hey, I'm this white male that's going to take away this black woman's time talking. In fact, all these black women, because of more than one on the stage. And sexist because I can do that because you're a woman and you're not going to fight me. There is no stated justification, none, for choosing Kamala Harris. None. You say, well, she's a sitting senator, but she's not even mentioned as one of the people you have issues with in your press release. So you have to explain. You have to explain why you did this. Moreover, you have to apologize for it. I will say this again, and I will say this until the cows come home. Direct Action Everywhere, this is all kinds of wrong. All kinds of wrong. No one cares about your message. I seriously doubt you understand how the agricultural system works in the United States, let alone the world, to even suggest a proper remodeling of it to achieve the objectives you state. In other words, you're just whining. You don't know anything. If you truly understood at a lobbyist level, you really have a direct, how do you like that? Direct impact. But now, no. All you have are a lot of people who are unhappy with what you've done. You guys think that's cool. You need your head examined. You massively need your head examined, and you need to go to school regarding how government works. You need to be smarter. And here's something else, too. Go and do that to a Republican candidate. Go to the Republican National Convention, or go to the Republican State Convention and do that. I bet you don't. And see, that's the craziest thing about this whole deal, right? You've got people out there who would demonize their allies rather than the people who are against them. You protest the people who are against you. You don't protest your allies. Are you stupid? You've got to be. But you do this because you and I both damn well know you're afraid of taking on the real power establishments. What you did was a statement to Senator Harris that you don't view her as powerful, that you can take her voice. When you try to do that to Bernie Sanders, it makes the same statement. When you do that to Democratic candidates, that is the message you're sending. When the Democratic candidates let you do it, they're letting you do it, and they send the same message. Hey, look, your voice is powerful too. We want to hear you even over mine. That's ridiculous. You need to let them have their time. And if you want your time, you know what you should do? Do what Daily Kos did during the 2008 Democratic National Convention. I'll tell you what they did. I thought it was brilliant. They didn't like that they were not credentialed to be a blogger at the DNC convention. I was, by the way. So what did they do? They established something called the Big Tent. That's right. They set up a big tent, literally, and it had bands and food and everything, and they had their own alternative press, which, frankly speaking, which wasn't different than the blogging press that we are. But hey, I thought it was cool. Do that. Set up your own big tent. Set up your own way of drawing people in to attract them, to then have them hear and see your message. Okay? This way, no. A lot of people who are paying attention to you for all the wrong reasons. This is kind of the action that you do that, you don't tell your parents you did. And maybe your parents, if I were your dad, I would say, you know what? You're in jail. Stay there. You need to learn a lesson. But chances are you probably didn't go to jail because, hey, we're Democrats. It's okay. It's great. It's not great. Democrats have to start showing some backbone and some stick-to-itiveness and some toughness and some fight. No one, anyone, should be allowed to take the stage from a candidate ever again. No, that should be out. Done. No way. No way.